Picture showing us how. Greek mythology is cool, and I like talking. We're going to be learning about the origin of Greek mythology and Heracles. Stick around, we're going to have fun. Let's talk about Greek mythology, because I have been hearing so many things about people liking Greek mythology, but nobody really talks about it. I know Netflix has a show coming out called Chaos, K-A-O-S, I believe, and it's gonna be solely about Greek and Roman mythology. It's like a giant religious fan fiction. Anyways, today we're gonna be talking about Heracles and the origin of Greek mythology, and I'm gonna talk about that now. Primordials were the first. They were the very first. They were Gaia and Uranus, and there were others, but we're just gonna focus on those two. Gaia was Mother Earth. Uranus was of the sky. Gaia and Uranus had 6 sets of twins. They had 12 children. Some were Cyclops and others were Titans. Uranus did not like his Cyclops kids. He was not having it. He was like, nope, no Cyclops kids. And he dumped them into oblivion. And Gaia she didn't like that. So her son Cronus, who was one of the Titans, she was like, yo, end that. And Cronus, Cronus kind of just like, chopped that off. And from the blood emerged Aphrodite. Aphrodite was the first goddess, but she was the first. So he's out of the picture now. Don't worry about him. One of the kids that they had, she and Cronus had a bunch of kids. They had 6. Cronus heard a little prophecy about one of his kids slicing him up. So every time they were born, he would just straight up, now Rhea, being another savage mama. Her last kid, instead of giving him Zeus, their last son, she gave him a rock, and he ate the rock, and she saved Zeus. And now Zeus lives with a mountain goat named Amalthea. This mountain goat raised Zeus in a mountain. And when Zeus was old enough, Zeus was like, I'm gonna get my siblings back right now. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna charge up there, and I'm gonna give him the nastiest stuff you've ever drank in your life, and he will just puke them up. A mixture of mustard and wine. Mustard and wine. He fed that to his father, and his father just puked up his kids. And then he got in a big war with his daddy and some other titans. Zeus lightning bolted his way through, and now he's the big daddy of the gods. So of these 6 kids were Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. Zeus was the last born. He was the one that killed his dad. So that's the origin. But let's move on to one more story. Heracles. What did she say? Did she say Heracles? Yes, I said Heracles because Hercules is Roman. His story got told from Greece to Rome, so there is like a Roman version of him as well. First thing you should know, Heracles was actually born demigod. Heracles was born from Zeus and Alcmene. Alcmene was a beautiful mortal, and Zeus was like, let me get all up in that biz. I want some piece of that. And Zeus did. Zeus went down to the mortal realm, impersonated her husband, and slept with her. And then they had Alcaeus. Alcaeus is his mortal name. And he was known as Alcaeus for a long time. And by a long time, I mean the majority of my story. Yeah, Zeus has a lot of kids. With a lot of people. He just does. I can't exactly say too much about it, but he does. Yeah, so Alcaeus was raised by Alcmene and her husband. But for his safety, his safety? What's the problem? What's the danger? What's wrong with Alcaeus? Nothing's wrong with Alcaeus. He's a perfectly healthy demigod child. But Hera hates his guts. Hera doesn't want him alive. Hera has wanted this child to die since she heard about him being alive. Yes, so Hera didn't like the fact that this child was alive. Hera was not okay with it. Hera likes to be the only one. And the fact that there are children from other people, it makes her mad. Because she's a savage mama. And Hera wants this child dead. So she sends serpents to come kill the child. Alcaeus goes the way he does in the movie. So the mortals, to save him, kind of just put him in the middle of the forest and go, yeah, she won't find him here. But Athena does. Athena finds this little helpless toddler and shows Hera. And Hera breastfeeds him. And he bites her. And that created the Milky Way. From then on out, he's being raised by the mortal parent. Basically, he was raised by the mortal parents. And his stepfather, aka his real father, that Zeus impersonated, set him up with a bunch of really good, like, tutors, like chariot tutors, archery tutors, like fighting tutors, stuff like that, like the best in the land. Hercules was doing well as a demigod, and exceptionally well as a mortal, doing all these things. So he didn't know how strong he was, especially after being breastfed by Hera. He was a little bit more powerful than the average demigod. But as a mortal, he was just exceptionally strong, like crazy strong. And he killed his music teacher with a lyre. And that was when they were like, okay, he's gotta go to the flocks and like do some work because this kid is dangerous. Alcaeus decides to go and start something. He hears that Thebes is in trouble. He gathers a bunch of Theban soldiers and he basically fights back for Thebes. And the king of Thebes offers him a gift in commemoration of his bravery and help for the people of Thebes. He offers his daughter, the Princess Megara. Megara is the princess of Thebes. So he marries the princess of Thebes and he has his 3 kids. And Hera doesn't like the fact that Alcaeus is alive. She makes Alcaeus go crazy, like mad, insane. And he kills his wife and 3 kids. It's not a very happy story. Yeah, he kills his family. And out of the guilt and upset he feels from doing it, he has to go make up for it. He goes to his cousin, the king Eurystheus, and asks for basically 12 labors. The 12 labors of Heracles. Now we can get into why he's called Heracles. His name means glory of Hera because he thought that he would get famous based off of trying to live from all of the punishments Hera has sent him. Originally, he was only supposed to have 10 labors, but he failed 2. And we're gonna go into that now. Alcaeus had to kill the Nemean lion. The Nemean lion was invincible to weapons. So he had to go in this cave and fight this lion with his bare hands. He had to kill the Hydra. That was one of his 10 labors. That was the second one, which he did with the help of his nephew. He would chop off the Hydra's heads. His nephew would cauterize them so that they wouldn't grow back. That one failed because he had help. He's not supposed to have any help, or else I guess it just doesn't work. For his 3rd labor, he had to capture the Saracenian hide. It was special to Artemis. Artemis is goddess of the hunt. He had to capture this deer alive. It took him a year to do this. He had to shoot it in, I believe, the ankle, and Artemis didn't like it. So Hercules brings back the hide. Then for his 4th one, he had to capture the Erymaean boar. I don't have a lot on that one. He basically just captured it. And then he had a grand adventure with an adventurer named Jason and his like sidekick guy or whatever, which didn't go well. The reason it didn't go well is because the king guy who's giving him the labors told him, yeah, you're not allowed to, you know, go out and do fun things during this. You're supposed to be focusing on the 10 labors. So he gave him this impossible task to clean the stables of this one king. The stables were impossible to clean. His men couldn't clean it in a month, let alone one day. Hercules goes up to the king and is like, hey, I'll do this. I'll clean it one day, but if I do, you gotta give me half, okay? And the king's like, no one can clean my stables in a day. So he goes, yeah, sure. That Heracles just brings up a river and washes it through, literally directs the river through the stables. Does it work? Yes. Does he get his stuff? No. The king refuses to give it to him. Heracles is like, yep, hey, you're dead, man. And his cousin's like, no, you can't do that. That's not allowed. You cannot profit off of the labors. So this one failed. This is when Hercules starts getting serious. So for the 6th one, he has to drive away this flock of birds. And he can't do it easily. So Athena gives him this rattle, and Hercules goes, and all the birds scatter. So that one wasn't too hard for him. Things do be getting kind of spicy from here on out, you know what I'm saying? This one is about the Cretan bull. Probably heard about the Cretan bull. The Cretan bull is special to Poseidon. It can walk on water. Kind of looks like that one Pokemon. That's what I kind of picture it as, is that Pokemon. And he has to go find it and get it back from this one king and bring it back. King Minos does not want this bull because his wife fell in love with the bull and had a son named Minotaur. Yeah, so the king doesn't want this bull anymore. He rides it across the water and gets it back. Then for the 8th one, he has to bring back the mares of Diomedes. These horses were fed human. The guy who owned them was like, oh, this is a great idea. No one's gonna come near these horses because they eat people. Heracles comes along, feeds the owner of the horses to the horses, and once they're all full, he rides him back. This one has 2 different versions because Greek mythology is all over the place. Heracles has to bring back the Hippolyte's girdle. She's the goddess of the Amazons, the big powerful women warriors basically. So he wanders up there and Hera's impersonating an Amazonian. She goes around, she's like, hey, this new guy's coming. He's gonna kill the queen. So they all try to attack him and defend the queen. He winds up killing the queen and a couple Amazonians, but he gets the girdle. And the other version is that he comes, enslaves the sister, I believe, and she steals the girdle or gets the girdle for him. This one's also kind of interesting. Hera also decides to interfere with this one. He has to bring back the cattle of Geryon. He has to essentially cowboy himself back with this group of cattle. First time they dispersed, he had to get them back. Hera dispersed them, and she thought that was real funny. Hercules has to get them all, corral them back together. It takes forever. And then there's this one girl, this princess, falls in love with him. She's like, dang, that's one fine cowboy. Yeah, she hides the cattle, and she goes, can't get these cattle back unless you sleep with me. So he does. But yeah, essentially she's just like, hey cowboy, heard you want some cattle. Well, I know some cattle, but I won't tell you. Oh, I ain't gonna tell you where these cattle are. You know, like, yeah, him and her have some intimacy moments, and then he gets his cattle back. Would this possibly make him lose the challenge? No, he's perfectly fine. He succeeds with this one. Yeah, he gets the cattle back and he brings them back like right after. And she got pregnant, by the way. Yeah, she had a kid. He was kind of important, but it doesn't matter. No, he doesn't lose the challenge. It's perfectly fine. Here's another fun one. He has to bring back the apples of Ganymedes. Basically, he has to bring back these super precious golden apples. On the way to go do it, he finds Prometheus stuck to a tree, and Hercules saves him, and Prometheus is like, oh, awesome, buddy, awesome. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much. But you know that thing that you're doing right now? You're trying to get those golden apples? It's kind of hard to do. They're like guarded by some like giant mystical beings like dragons or something like that. Like you can't get them. You can't get these apples. I'm sorry, dude, you just can't. But you might be able to go get Atlas to do it for you. Heracles is like, okay, all right, I'll go ask Atlas. So he marches over, and this guy's over here like this. By the way, a common misconception, Atlas doesn't hold the world. He holds the heavens. Yeah, so he's over here like this, and Hercules walks up and he's like, yo, dude, I gotta get these golden apples, but I can't do it, and I need your help. And Atlas is like, man, I would really actually love to help you, but I'm kind of busy. See, like I'm doing stuff. Hercules is like, oh, yeah, I can see why you'd be busy. And Atlas is like, okay, I have a deal. If you can hold the heavens up for me while I go get your apples, then we can make a deal, man. Hercules is like, oh, are you serious, man? Gotcha, totally, I'll do it. No questions asked, let's go. So Hercules and Atlas switch spots. Hercules is now holding up the heavens like, you know. So Atlas actually does. He actually does. He goes and gets the golden apples. What? He goes and gets the golden apples, and he comes back with the golden apples. How long later? I don't know, but Hercules is over here holding up the heavens. That's all you had to say. Thank you. Atlas goes and he's like, got your apples, bro. Right there. But you know, it feels really great to not have the heavens on my shoulders at the moment. And Hercules is like, oh man, I totally get it. I get it. I can see why your shoulders would be so tense. I can see why, like, you know, it would hurt and why you don't want to do it. Yeah, man, I think I'm just gonna go. You got that? I think I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I mean, you just go. You go. Yeah, it's okay. It's totally fine if you go. But, like, real quick. I can do this. Like, I can totally do this, like, forever. Like, if you don't want to do it, like, I can totally do it forever. But, like, I gotta readjust myself. I can get into better positions, all I'm trying to say. I totally get it. Like, I've done that for years, man. Like, I've done it forever. So, here. So, Atlas and Hercules switch. Hercules picks up his apples and goes. He's, Atlas got playing. Atlas got playing. And for his 12th labor, the king was like, okay, he's done all of them, but I have to have one more. So let's make this one count. Heracles, you have to go capture Cerberus. Now, this story is so long and so in-depth that I could probably actually make this an episode in itself. But I'm gonna skim over it real quick. Essentially, he goes and he has to find a bunch of different people just to accomplish a bunch of different small tasks before he can ever even enter the underworld. When he enters the underworld, he has to get one of his old friends' wives back, bring her back from the dead, which he does. But Hades also has a bunch of different tasks that he wants him to do. He's like, yo, you're in the underworld, and I don't want you to take my dog, so you gotta do me a couple favors. So Hades has Heracles running around doing a bunch of different stuff, so this is taking him forever. Like, he's getting all this stuff done before he can even get Cerberus. But after he does all that, he gets Cerberus. Hades is like, just don't hurt my dog, man, okay? And Heracles is like, yep, I got you. So he wrestles the dog down, brings him up to the mortal realm. And his cousin is like, oh my gosh, that's Cerberus. Oh! He hides in a pot. So Heracles brings the dog back. And his friend is so grateful that he got his wife back. He introduces Heracles to Diamara, and they fall in love and they get married. But that's where I'm gonna end it, because there's even more after that. I'm excited for Chaos to come out on Netflix. I can't wait to see how that goes. I don't know how good it's gonna be of a show. I don't know how well Netflix is gonna do to combine Roman and Greek mythology. If you're new, like and subscribe, comment, let me know if you liked it or not. I hope you enjoyed my Greek mythology rants, my Dory time. That's all. If you like me and my personality and my intricate, interesting, weird storytelling self, please subscribe. I will do it a lot. I go on mini rants constantly, and I make fun of everything. If I got something wrong, tell me. If you think that I should be talking about more stuff like this, less stuff like this, something else that I should talk about, something else I should show you guys, just anything in general, just if you want to say something about me, about anything, just let me know. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you guys next week when I post next Sunday. And I'm sorry if I ruined your perspective on Hercules. I'm sorry if you were all, oh, he's a cool guy, he's awesome, he's such a sweetheart, and he loves Megara. I love Meg and Hercules. I'm sorry. Hercules. I wonder how many people in Greece were related to Zeus. I mean, in Norse mythology, Loki literally turned into a horse and got pregnant from a horse. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oh, one little... I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this.